continue.
Hmm. I do think the law is going to be critical over the next 4 years, and I've been tweeting about this. I think too infrequently we've resorted to the law, and it can be used. There was a great op-ed in the Wall Street Journal that I really supported by Jed Rubenfeld, he's a Yale professor. He's married to Tiger Mom Amy Chua, and Vivek Ramaswamy, who's a business executive in medical, I think in drugs, and has made $1 billion. But they wrote this thoughtful piece on how big tech was essentially being used as an arm of government at this point. They're so big, and they've been offered both carrots and sticks, mostly by the Democrats, to do what they want to do. That they need to be treated as big government in this way. That they're not allowed to crack down on free speech the way most private industries are allowed to crack down on free speech, and they have special obligations now to not allow viewpoint discrimination.
Here I am again with the mute button. Somebody's going to have to keep reminding me. Okay, I've got an article up here, and I want to finish these lashes and do a little bit of an intro to it. And basically, what I was saying is I think they're right on point here. And this is where libertarians are going astray in treating these tech companies as if they are sheerly private industries. They're not. They are functioning as an arm of the state, and we need to treat them so. We need to not be foolish, because what we're doing, I think a lot of libertarians are proving to be the living example of that Soviet joke that says that they will hang the last capitalist with the rope that same capitalist sold them. And I think that's what we're doing now with the way some libertarians are defending big tech. But it's a private company, is it? Is it really? And I wanted to go through this op-ed a little bit here that Megyn Kelly referenced, and I have up on the screen. I can't read the whole thing in full, obviously, because I'll get hit with copyright, but we can do fair use by doing some commentary with it. So I have the cover up there, but let's go to the first page of it, and I'll just do some highlights. It talks about, obviously, the banning of Trump and, everything that we've talked about before, because they claimed it was dangerous and incitement to violence and all of that. And I want to read a little bit here. It says, conventional wisdom holds that technology companies are free to regulate content because they're private, and the First Amendment protects only against government censorship. That view is wrong. Google, Facebook, and Twitter should be treated as state actors under existing legal doctrines. Using a combination of statutory inducements and regulatory threats, which these big tech companies have been in bed with enacting in order to stifle competition. Congress has co-opted Silicon Valley to do through the back door what government cannot directly accomplish under the Constitution. And that is very, very important. That is something libertarians really need to get through their head. So to go on to the next page, or is it on this page? Did I miss one? Well, I think it's, oh no, I see, because I had something in the way. That Norwood versus Harrison decision, really, really interesting, which quote that government may not induce, encourage, or promote private persons to accomplish what is constitutionally forbidden to accomplish. They cannot do it through proxy. And that is exactly what is going on. But it goes on to say that that's exactly what Section 230 does. Not really going to get into Section 230 too much, but I just want this concept to maybe sink in and give you some food for thought.
You're just simply saying we're all liars. And I said it was
wrong thing. I didn't want to go to the next one. I wanted to go to the next page here. And it talks about how the courts have held that these types of immunity can turn private action into state action. I think that's exactly what is going on. So let's read again. Section 230 is the carrot, and there's also a stick. Congressional Democrats have repeatedly made explicit threats to social media giants if they fail to censor those speech the lawmakers disfavored. And it gives some examples and says these threats have worked. And again, I don't want to get into copyright issues here, but it gives some more examples. But let's go to that last paragraph there. Either Section 230 or congressional pressure alone might be sufficient to create state action. But the combination surely is. Suppose a Republican Congress enacted a statute giving legal immunity to any private party that obstructs access to abortion clinics. Suppose further that Republican congressmen explicitly threaten private companies with putative laws if they fail to act against abortion clinics. If these companies did as Congress demands, then got an attaboy from lawmakers, progressives certainly would see the constitutional problem. And I hope libertarians would as well. I'm not so concerned about progressives. I'm concerned with cleaning our own house. Go on to the next page. And, you know, the second paragraph says what I said. Liberals should worry too. Let's switch that around. Libertarians should worry too. If big tech can shut down the sitting president, they can shut down anybody. We should know that above all people. And that last sentence, that last paragraph is really poignant. Hard cases make bad law, and Mr. Trump presented America with a hard case. The breach of the Capitol is a stain on American history, and Silicon Valley seized on the attack to do what Congress couldn't do by suppressing the kind of political speech the First Amendment was designed to express. But here are the money quotes, the last two paragraphs, and I really, really want you guys to consider this. There's more at stake than free speech. Suppression of dissent breeds terror. As I've often said, if you take away words, all we have left is violence. The answer to last week's horror should be to open more channels of dialogue, not to close them off. If disaffected Americans no longer have an outlet to be heard, the siege of Capitol Hill will look like a friendly parley. A pun not intended, I'm sure, compared with what's to come. This is the money of the money quotes, this last paragraph. Ordinary Americans understand the First Amendment better than the elites do. Users who say Facebook, Twitter, and Google are violating their constitutional rights are right. Aggrieved plaintiffs should sue these companies now to protect the voice of every American and our constitutional democracy. Absolutely freaking correct. And libertarians need to learn that. That article said it, and I'm very grateful for Megyn Kelly bringing that up. That article said it way more artfully than I had been trying to say over these past few weeks. Now, in that discussion with Ben Shapiro, there were some things said that libertarians and myself, obviously, would not agree with. They were arguing that since anti-discrimination law has gone far beyond what it was initially intended to do, that conservatives should press to have political speech a protected category. Now, obviously, I think all of those laws need to go. I certainly don't want to expand them. And I can't see any realm in which political speech should be a protected category. You know, even though that would probably serve my interests. Because, you know, our speech is going to be even more disfavored. You know, you have Brennan saying libertarians are potential domestic terrorists. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business, not because they want